Hello there everybody, this is Grant, also known as The Collector 75, and welcome to part 28 of my Marvel UK Transformers Generation 1 comics review. So we're going to dive straight in, and we're going to go for issue 261, cover dated the 17th of March 1990. God, that seems a hell of a long time ago. How long ago was that? 28 years ago. Is it 28? So 1990 to 2010 would have been, 28 years ago. That is crazy. But there we go. Let's not worry about that too much. So we've got a nice little cover here. This one has got a nice Megatron with Wheeljack, Prowl, Soundwave, Mixmaster, and a few others. We got Dead End and Drag Strip there. Now, then, obviously, these stories are now completely out of sync with the American, because obviously, the American storyline, we've got Primal Scream, where all these pretty much Transformers are still deactivated, yet to be revived. And in fact, they actually get revived a different way than Galvatron reviving Wheeljack and Prowl. So it's a bit strange on this one. So there we go. And of course, Megatron has just been destroyed, disappeared on the space bridge along with Ratchet. So why he's here? Anybody's guess. It's a bit strange. I think there was a thing in the comic where it did say these storylines do follow on from the American story in the future, or something like that. As it turns out, you're looking at probably about a year's time, which is a bit weird. So really, you just got to read these stories for as is. Not worry too much about continuity, because believe me, trying to fit them in is a bit of a struggle. Anyway, right, so we're going to start here. Now then, we've got a really weird, obviously miscoloured transformation page there. And there we go, we've got Matrix Quest, and we're going to start with Primal Scream Part 3. Now, I thought there were going to be 4 parts to this, because I wanted to add this last part to my last video, but I thought there was another 2 parts, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'll leave it. But I just realised I think there's only one. They actually crammed it into 3 parts, so there we go. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because here we are with Part 3 of Primal Scream. We've still got the Autobots and the Decepticons fighting in the centre of Cybertron there, trying desperately not to wake Primus, hence why the Autobots are not using their guns. I love the bit where Grimlock just headbutts Octopunch straight in the face. And then the old little trick of tripping him up and then falling down there. That's quite cool. And it's pretty cool. I love it. And then obviously we see, is it Octopunch there? He takes a pot shot at Grimlock, just ricochets off Grimlock's back there. Hits Primus square in the face, shaking him awake, and he screams. The whole of Cybertron screams, just as I believe Emirate Zaron has managed to lock onto the Autobots and Decepticon and teleports them away using their space bridge to Earth, where they should have gone in the first place. Now, of course, he says, oh, come on, you don't believe all that Primus stuff. I don't think no one heard that scream but us. But yeah, I love this. This is just great. And I don't know what the American readers thought of this at the time, with the introduction of Unicron into their storyline, because we had it so long, all these storylines. But it was great. I just love this. Beyond the fringes of known space, it hears, it recognises its old enemy. And though it is replete, its terrible hunger sated by the inhabited world it has just consumed, it's now eager to eat again. And it turns in the direction of Cybertron. Oh, I love it. I just brilliant. I just love that picture of, just get the immense size of Unicron with this little moon here just floating around him. Loved it. I love that picture. And I'm so glad Jeff Sr. did that. And now we've got All Dogs Go to Heaven. Nice little advert for that there. And then we get starting over. Now, we've got the Decepticons doing something with this. Probably going to try and destroy Earth's atmosphere or something like that so they can get the energy. And now we've got the Autobots. Who's it? Prowl and Wheeljack. Lamenting, saying, oh, I wish it was a simpler time back in the old days. Now you've got little people who turn into guns, people who turn into headmasters, and I'm surprised if you get a headmaster, target master, power master bloke all in one. Probably Simon Furman lamenting just how silly the toys were getting. And obviously, I was growing up at the time, and I started noticing, this is around the time I started collecting the American comics. So obviously I knew how it was going as well. And it was good that he wasn't treating the readers stupid either. So anyway, I believe as well he also realised what the readers wanted, like the core, hardcore group of readers that would most of them have followed it on right from right round it started to now, is that we wanted the old characters. We wanted Prowl, Wheeljack, Soundwave, Stunticons. They're the people we wanted in the comic, not all these new ones, really. So that's what he did with these stories. He just gave us all those old characters and storylines generated around them. And there we go. So we have Megatron. Saving Wheeljack Prowl there, but he manages to fight him off, and there he goes, the end and a new beginning. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got Combat Colin, Dread Tidings now in black and white. We got some the Classic Heroes competition, which I did go in for, didn't win it. And then we got some more Action Force there. And I love this picture of Shockwave here. I just realised, if you're looking at those new Cyberverse figures that are out, well, not out, but they're coming out, that's a cool head. It just reminds me of the Cyberverse Shockwave. I do want that one just for that head. It just looks a proper comic-orientated head. I love that. Right, so let's quickly, because I've done 6 minutes on one comic. Anyway, right, so we're going to move on to 262. Now, beware the Shockwaves. I believe this is where Optimus Prime has given Grimlock command of Earth, or something like that. But first of all, we're going to come to the... blah, 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 blah. Hold on 1 second. What no A to Z? Here we go. Wow, look at that. We've got some more A to Zs coming. So we've got Bird of Prey, which is the first part of Matrix Quest, with Nightbeat and a few others trying to track down clues as to where the Matrix might be. They've got its basically trajectory, and so they just send out. It's about one of these 4-part storylines where they've sent different... It's a bit like the if you remember Dinobot Hunt from the old UK days, it's kind of like that really, where the first 3 parts, first 3 parts of this, no one finds it, because obviously they're in the wrong locations, but then on the 4th part, that's where they find it, obviously. Not too many spoilers there. But some great artwork by, what's his name, Jeff Senior here. It's an okay storyline. It's basically going on about, on this planet, it's a bit like, not Cowboys, but it's a bit like, because obviously it's Nightbeat, it's a bit like a PI, hard-boiled sort of storyline, really. And then we come to the UK story, with Grimlock going up against Shockwave, the current Autobot and Decepticon commanders of Earth. We've got Optimus Prime. I believe this is where he gives him command of Earth Force, as it's going to be known. There we go, see? And that's about it, really. It's not... The storylines are okay. I'm not going to go too much in depth on those storylines because they were just standalone stories, really, with no bearing on continuity, to be honest. Unless there's any noteworthy little bits in there. We've got Combat Colin, Semi-Automatic Steve, Dread Tidings, still in black and white. Nice picture of some Daleks there. Some more Action Force. And then the usual next week with no blurb and all that. And, of course, reserve your copy now. I love this advert for the Classic Heroes. See, obviously they didn't get these in America, and I always wonder why they never got these. Because I bought them. I can't remember, actually, I don't think I bought any of the cars. Because this is around the time that I was about 14, actually coming on 15. I think, somewhere around there. And I thought to myself, I'm too old to be mine, but I did buy a Grimlock and a Sludge, I believe. Just because I never had them and I wanted to try and get all the Dinobots. And I got the Protectobots and the Combaticons. But yeah, some people did make fun of me. But I thought, sod 'em, I don't care. Anyway, right, so number 263, I Quit, and I think this is actually where he does get command of the Earth Force, I don't know, so it's me trying to remember. And we've got Bird of Prey Part 2. As you can see, some woman is trying to find an object that has almost an equal power to the Matrix, and I think Nightbeat and the Autobots do consider stealing it to use against Unicron, but they don't in the end. But look, we've got some Decepticons tracking them down here. I love this. They're wondering why these Autobots are in this part of the galaxy. And I think they do something to them in the end anyway. And then we've got the UK story, a nice advert for the Punisher there. I missed actually an advert for some crispy pancakes the other day on one of these issues. God, I don't want to show that off. Anyway, so Me Quit. And obviously this is where he basically gets the ump with Prime's leadership and everything. They have a bit of a bust up. And they're a bit of a tussle. Realise they're pretty much matched. And he gives them command of the Earth Force. And that's it. And go with blessing, my brave warriors. So they stays on Earth, and Optimus Prime does something else. Pardon me. More Combat Colin. More Dread Tidings. We've got Stock Exchange, Perceptor or Blaster, or Warpath and Rumble. Swap Sandstorm or Ratchet and First Aid. Don't know, maybe. Bit late now, I think. Let's have a look. We've got some more Action Force there, and now we come to another storyline that's completely out of continuity, but we'll come to that in a second. 264. Now we've got Ironhide and Bumblebee on the cover there. But first we've got Bird of Prey Part 3. Let's have a look. Someone's taken down this bloke who's about to kill Nightbeat. He doesn't know who it is. They do capture this thing, but then, as it is, I think the Decepticons... Oh, that's it. The woman knows these people that they were asking questions. They just calls them the robot mob or something like that. But they get him. He puts the icon back on this planet, and it actually turns the planet back from being a really like depraved place into being a place of beauty. Kind of like what happens in Beast Machines at the end of Beast Machines. But anyway, they're all happy. I think it's all a happy ending, and then suddenly all the Autobots get blasted. And you, the robot mob, we prefer to be called Decepticons. I still don't know yet why Optimus Prime sent search parties to this sector of the galaxy, but by the time I'm finished with these Autobots, they'll be begging to tell me. And I love now that Thunderwing is just going to take such a big centre stage. This is, along with Target 2006 and some of the follow-on storylines from that, like Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive, Matrix Quest, especially the last parts, leading into the big Unicron battle, is some of the best Transformers stories you will ever read, because it was just full of characterization, little known characters like Thunderwing, Bludgeon and that being taken to great heights, and it was just great times. There were great times, and we'll never see times like that again in the comics anyway. Hopefully we'll get a Thunderwing toy. I want a new Thunderwing toy. That little Deluxe Generations one, it's a good toy, but we want that bloody Titan Returns Sky Shadow as a Thunderwing, because that Sky Shadow is a fantastic figure. Anyway, right, so we go on to the UK story, Desert Island Risks. Now, this is a kind of a story where obviously the Constructicons have lost the ability to combine. Now, no one else has around them. Everyone else can transform, but they can't. And that is because apparently now they, obviously Nucleon, but Nucleon's never mentioned in this. But this is why. So they're trying to build the Action Master Devastator. So it's in continuity, but at the same time, it's really all over the place, really. Yeah, it's just a bit of a strange one, this one. But anyway, they're trying to build it. The Decepticons have left him basically guarded by this computer system guarding it, really. Yeah. And so Ironhide, because he's a security officer, he tries to deal with it. And it's basically just asking loads of questions, a bit like bloody Blockbusters. And he gets most of them right and all this sort of like other questions and stuff. And he manages to get through it. Or why you just wouldn't have a computer system if you're going to guard something to recognise it as an Autobot. Don't ask me. But it makes a good storyline, so there we go. And we've got more Combat Colin and the Monstrous Micromasters competition, the Mark II. We've got lots of these bases. I love some of those bases. They were pretty cool. Never bought none at the time, but they're great collecting them on the secondary market now. And now we come... Oh no, I forgot about this. When this was printed, I thought this is the most dullest storyline going. So anyway, so after the first part of Matrix Quest, now we've got to wait about 2 months for the next part. So we got the UK part, this storyline, and then we got the reprint of G.I. Joe and the Transformers. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure some people out there love it. I hated it. I found it dull, boring. Who was it wrote by? Michael Higgins. Oh my God. It was just all kinds of things that Transformers shouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just so used to being in the UK where we just got action stories and everything. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really don't know. But I did not enjoy it. I actually fell asleep reading it one day. I'm sure I did. I can't even tell you what the thing was. It's set around the time that Optimus Prime died by Ethan Zachary. I know that. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into it. I'll say some noteworthy bits of it maybe. So we've got the Autobot code, and this is where it's basically Grimlock looking through the Autobot codex and stuff and saying how people should be, and he says, rubbish, and chucks it out and goes, now I'm in charge now, basically, and we'll do what we want. Let's kick butt or something. So that's quite a funny, fun story, that one. So we got semi-auto combat Colin, the Deadly Duo, and then we got a nice, look at that, nice A to Z on Shockwave there. Can't go wrong with that one. Anyway, right, so let's move on quickly. We've got an advert for Record Breakers. And unfortunately not the one with Norris McWhirter. Anyway, right, so 266. Sudden Fried Chicken. I love that. Transformer style, I love that. We've got more G.I. Joe and the Transformers. Some people attack. Might have been Cobra, I can't remember. Bumblebee's going to reveal themselves, and then obviously something's going to happen to him later on. Whew. It was a long drawn out story like that one, because obviously it was separated into about every issue of the American one, which was one issue, got separated into 4 parts. So that was a month. It took 4 months to tell this story. Oh, dear, oh dear. But we've got this one. I can't remember what this one's going on about. We've got Sunstreaker and Jazz there. Don't know, on the trail of Runabout and Runamuck, I think, and someone else. For whatever reason, I cannot remember. Yep, there we go. As I said, just little fun stories on their own, really, of no real main bearing. We got Dread Tidings, again in black and white, and then we've got G.I. Joe. So you have more bloody G.I. Joe in it, and Transformers, I think. Well, at least they got colour strips as well. And there we go. So there's that one, more adverts for the classic heroes. 267 now. Let's have a look. What, that ain't no polar bear. It's quite a nice cover, that one. Here we go. Blood on the Tracks, part 3. We've got them. I always wanted them to be the Road Jammers, but I don't think they were. Let's have a look. We've got Bumblebee. Is he going to die yet? Oh, we got this thing that transforms as usual. We've got a badly printed page there. And now Bombshell's injected this little kid with a Cerebro shell. He's going to try and do something. I don't know what. And then we've got Snow Fun with its snowing. I couldn't tell you what happened in that story, I'll tell you. We've got Stock Exchange, Laserbeak, Buzzsaw and Frenzy, Swap, Skullgreen and Flamefeather. And then we've got Cytoid, Shrapnel on the A to Z. Shuttle Complex from G.I. Joe. I'm going to skip past most of that. We've got the next issues. We've got a nice, interesting story. Now, I know what happened in this story. This was an okay one. We've got Perish at the Hands of Megatron. It's quite a cool storyline. We'll come to that in a minute. So here we go. We've got... I think this is the only section that was ever coloured previous to the G1 Definitive Editions now, because they're colouring all these old black and white strips. So that bit is the only bit that was ever coloured that you got in this little section here. We've got the exciting news scheduled for launch next month. The exciting and topical news from Marvel Comics is called Pendragon. Jesus. Is Bumblebee going to die yet? I'm sure he dies around here somewhere. There he is. Finally, Bumblebee bites the dust. This was his origin of Goldbug, really, in the American comics. In the UK comics, we got Wanted Galvatron Dead or Alive, where he gets destroyed by Death's Head and then Wreck-Gar rebuilds him. But in the US, it was G.I. Joe that blow him up and then rebuild him. Oh dear. Anyway, well, there we go. Now Superion turns up. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that story, to be honest. Then we got Flashback. Now, this is basically where Prowl steps into the flashback chamber and is transported immediately back in time. He chooses his own body. It's basically his mind goes back in time. A bit like in that Wolverine film. If you know what I mean. I'm sure that was one. Or was it X-Men First Class? I can't remember which one it was. But one where Wolverine has to go back in time and try and change the past or something to affect the future. It's something weird. But obviously Megatron has already gone through. And he has jumped into the body of Snaptrap because he wants some warriors that perished when Starscream had the underbase. So he's going to try and save some Decepticons from Starscream. As you can see, there's that thing. Only black and white here, but it was colour on there. Shame, really. But there we go. So, and that is basically the storyline. He is trying to now lead the Seacons away, but Prowl's going to stop him. But he knows these Seacons are meant to perish. You can't have Megatron getting any more warriors than he's supposed to have already. Blah, 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 blah. Starscream eventually does come along and destroys all the Seacons. And then he knows he has to make sure he perishes as well. So, and then finally, once that happens, his mind reverts back to the future. And that was it, really. It was an okay storyline, but you'd think they would use that device again to do something else, but they never do. And then we've got more Combat Colin. And then here we go. We've got a couple more issues I want to get through. There we go. So we've got Superion on the next issue. Then what number are we up to now? We've got 2 more issues. Then we've got Mystery. Open up, and we've got Power Struggle. Nice big picture there of Superion. I do like that picture. It's quite nice. Yes, I think Superion's got the ump because they've destroyed Bumblebee. G.I. Joe attacks Superion and everything. Then he realises that Optimus Prime has been destroyed by this Zachary, so he's called away, leaving the remains of Bumblebee there. And then they'll think, oh, hang on now, they're actually good guys. We better rebuild Bumblebee. Something like that anyway. It's more A to Z of Silverbolt and... what's his name? Then we've got Mystery with Wheeljack. Can't remember what's happening in this one. Something's happening. Yeah, I cannot. Do you know what? I cannot remember. I think it might have been Ravage. It might have been infiltrating. No, maybe not. I cannot remember. It's a bit of a strange one. Anyway, we've got Dread Tidings. These storylines always reminded me of the first sort of issues of Transformers back in the day, back in like issues sort of like 10 to 20 sort of thing. Because they have no real bearing on anything. Then we've got this one, which is the Bad Guys Ball, I believe. We're going to come to that one next. What we've got now for Chomp. Only 10p. I love Chomps. Here we go with number issue 270, the final comic we're doing for this part. And we've got Glasnost, Decepticon style. We've got more Power Struggle Part 2. Oh dear. We've got Shockwave being as dull as ever in this one. Yeah. Nothing much happening there. I'll tell you that now. It's more like, oh, let's just have as many characters as we can because we think that's going to sell the comic. Rather than have a bloody storyline. And then we've got the Bad Guys Ball. This is where a so-called Decepticon tradition of something, I can't remember, oh well that's it, it's something called it, but the Enclave, but also known just as the Bad Guys Ball, because when it looks like there's going to be a civil war in the Decepticon ranks, they just do this Enclave to try and bring everybody together to know that the defining reason of why they're Decepticons is conquest and not fight amongst themselves, because that only is self-defeating, which is kind of cool in a way. But the Autobots know if they do have this Enclave and they do get back together, it's not good for the Autobots, and they really need them in fighting amongst themselves, because then it sort of like keeps their threat low or something like that. So anyway, so they've got a plan. They attack them and then throw this one Decepticon down, and looks like one side is threatening to take over than the other and using it as a trick, causing them to keep fighting, which is kind of cool. But I think that sort of leads in with the Decepticon Civil War that's going to come up a bit later on after Matrix Quest. And we've got more Dread Tidings. Yeah, there we go. Matrix improves on Primal Scream. We've already had a sneak preview, as I've said before. We have to take a break from that Mega Robot for a while to give the Americans a chance to get ahead with their stories. That's it, because obviously they're reprinting and they can't afford to produce any new UK content. Whereas that's what they would have done before. They would have had a big batch of UK stories, let the Americans get ahead, and then just reprint them subsequently. Obviously, it was going to take a turn for the worse a bit later on when this, because obviously this is a weekly comic. In the end, they decide to take the other step, which they had been holding off on, which was not to have it weekly and go fortnightly. And so then they could do the same thing, but then not have to do anything really. No reprints or nothing. It was a shame, but that's how it went. Right, so anyway, so that was issue 261 to 270, part 28, I believe. And I shall see you all next time in part 29. Bye for now.